Hey, what is up, everybody? We're finally here. Sorry, you guys know I'm always late, and this is not a new thing for me. But today I got with me Dad with a phone. Um, I've looked at some of your channel and I've looked at some of your things. I know you haven't been doing as much as you have been, in the past, and we kind of talked behind scenes about that and like your direction and the things that you were heading. So um, we'll kind of get all, we'll start diving into it. But I was just gonna say what's up to everybody on the thing real quick. So hey guys, thanks for joining. We appreciate you here. Please, as always, make sure you guys are respectful in the chat and respectful to the people that are either on the panel or in the chat as well too. You guys know that we're always like that, and I always appreciate that you guys are cool about it too. So oh man, so you've got down and dirty. I mean, like you are what I would describe like as a foot soldier to like going to these different locations, like getting involved with these cases and these different things. Did you get burned out of it? I mean, like, did it take a toll on you?
No, I mean, as far as the burn, like, it wasn't like that as far as how it was going. I was already doing some social media stuff. I was already doing live videos. I was already doing some live stuff on social media. It just wasn't around true crime. It was
Mm-hmm.
simply around my town, what's going on in town. I live in a small community, 8,500 feet in the mountains. We're surrounded by national forests. We're kind of our own little, I mean, literally, we're not going to get bigger. If we shut down one road, we shut down the whole town, kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
so I had a Woodland Park Underground. A lot of you guys know Woodland Park. If you follow true crime, you know where this is headed into, the Kelsey Barrett case. And so I live in Woodland Park. I had a little social media channel. Somebody said there's a woman missing, Michael. What do you know about this thing? You know everybody. I tell people I know everybody from the homeless man to the mayor's wife. Like I
Mm.
know everybody in town. I've been here 15 years. Um, and so people just message me, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? So I just went and checked it out. I was like, well, let's go check it out. And immediately with the Kelsey Barrett case, it just exploded. This was national news, then it was world news, and then it was my life for almost a year and a half, 2 years almost of my life, to where we followed basically the whole case, and we did as much as we could, like you said, on the ground, live, with a cell phone.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, that was the thing. And I've had this conversation 100 times with people. How did Dad with the Phone start? How did Dad with the Phone? Well, I'm a dad, and all I did was have a phone, and we just took it and showed people what was really going on. And it took me in a wild ride, man. I mean, it went from zero to, I'm sitting across from Andrea Canning on Dateline discussing Patrick Frazee case
Yeah.
and doing podcasts and different things all over. And so it was fun. And then it was fun for me, an experience. As
Mhm.
far as the tragedy and the case goes, if you're going to do this, you have to have some sort of life pushing into you, because life is being sucked out of you as you follow these cases.
I
And I'm
agree.
sure you know yourself that if you don't have some sort of recharge that's really recharging your life, and you start following this wickedness, we're talking about the most wicked things on the face of the planet. We're
Yeah.
talking about a man who beat his fiance to death with a baseball bat, and just over and over and over. And so that kind of wickedness doesn't register in my head, right?
Mhm.
I'm a dad, been married for 17 years, got kids. And so the draining of life out of you is very real. And so burned out isn't the thing. It's like, man, you got to sometimes have to step back and breathe and recharge
You
and
really
say,
do. You
I
really do.
can't, there's a case. Everybody wants you to talk about their case. I'm sure you, again, message after message, please talk about this case, talk about that case.
Yeah, I
And
do.
so, but a few cases, no doubt, the ones that were local to me and close enough that I could actually be on location, they grabbed my attention. And
Yeah.
that's how, you know, the Mekcee Barrett case, the Suzanne Morphew case it's an hour and a half to one of my favorite places. And so it was easy for me to go there.
Yeah.
And then having people follow and having people, you know, want to know information. For 25 years, I've told stories from behind the camera. So telling stories to the camera is nothing new. So it was fun to be a part of and be able to bring people with me as we're driving down the street or as we're at the search party or at the location of where this took place. And so
Yeah. And it is like, it's exactly like what you describe and what you say too. Like, I don't think people will fully understand it, because when you see us go to these locations, for instance, I was going to the Watts like on a regular basis, and it's just like, everybody, oh, let's go to the Watts. You know, the Watts is like about an hour 15 minutes from me. So I would go, you know, I have family, I have, you know, obviously I got the channel, I do the paranormal side of things, but people were asking me to go on a regular basis, like, go here, go to the Watts, take footage of this, show me footage of that, show this, you know, and I tried to be as on point as you could. And eventually it just starts taking a toll. And for me, more so, it takes a toll, several different reasons. One, I have kids. So when a tragedy that happens that's very sickening, like for instance, the Watts case where he shoved his girls into the oil tanks and then tried to bury his wife out in the field there, like those things hit home, and you start thinking about it like, damn, what if that was my child? You know what I mean? And you start taking these things in, and because you're spending your time and your effort and you're looking over the case and you're figuring out, what am I missing here, especially things that it seems like there's more involved with than what meets the eye. So you're sitting here and you're trying to be very, you know, detail oriented, and you're trying to go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and you're just sitting there consuming yourself with this evilness. And so it's like all you're doing is constantly feeding yourself like this negative energy, this negative you know, case that has happened, these things, and it's like it just mind boggles you. And then like there's been points at like where I've reached my breaking point, even on the case, on the Watts case, and I'm like, look guys, I'm not going out there. Like I got to step away from it for at least like a month. Like I need a break. I need a breath of fresh air. And I'm
no,
fortunate.
it is it's definitely, there's a difference, and there's nothing like the people watching this is
Mhm.
it's awesome, right? It's incredible that a couple of guys can have a platform to be able to talk about stuff and do this. And so
Mhm.
for the consumer, this is awesome for people. The YouTube and the channels like this have opened up an opportunity for people like you and I to have an audience, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And on the flip side of that, the creator side of it, it is a whole different deal. And so, but you know, it would be remiss of me to say that it was the content or the constant creation that was the problem. It's
Mhm.
simply, for me, to be honest, it wasn't my passion. Like you said, if you don't have a passion for it, I had a passion for the Mekcee Barrett case because this happened in my town that I've
Close to
lived
you.
at. I mean, like, I drove past Mekcee Barrett's house on the same day she was being beat to death. I was headed to a Thanksgiving dinner, and we drove past her condos. And so, like, it was so close to my home. And then my wife is a brunette and looked a lot in the similarities to the same size of Mekcee, and the same thing. Family, my children walk up and down these streets, right? The same streets they talked about in the court case where Crystal Lee Kinney came to clean up this murder, where she parked her car at the U Pass Cultural Center. My kids go there on a daily basis and walk past these same blocks. And so to know that this took place on my block was a big hitter for me. And that's why I jumped headfirst into that. By all stretch of the imagination, I definitely intertwined myself in with not only the physical case that was happening, but all that underlining stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that's not shown, every little, you can call it spirit, demon, ghost, paranormal, wherever you want to go with what you believe in the afterlife, the here life, and what's happening in the stuff that we can't see right in front of us. We were right in the thick of all that, because that's where you go when you talk about death and murder and the after and the before and what was happening. And so, yeah, man, it's a scary place to go sometimes. Not scary. Sometimes I say it this way. I believe in all that. Like when people say, when our mutual friend said, "Hey, you shout out to you that joined our mutual friend. I saw you come up there. Hi, Stacy."
Yes,
When
this is it.
Stacy said that you do paranormal stuff, I was like, it's not because I don't believe it. It's because I think some places we're not supposed to go.
Yeah,
Like
it's
there's
tough.
some things in some instances I look at this paranormal stuff and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to play in that arena. I don't know if that is for me, you know.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place to go there. But most of the time, for me, that's like mushrooms in the woods in a happy place. I don't want to be. I don't want to be in the. I don't want to be in the death side of things with the demons and the devils. You know.
Yeah,
So.
and that's tough. It really is tough. The reason I do what I do is because I always try to educate people about demons, and I wanted to bring people to light and know about God and things. But I wanted to educate people about demons because I felt like there was such a misconception about what demons were and what do they do, and like people you see, Hollywood flicks, and you see movies and things, and so you get one or two perceptions of it, right? Either it's full of crap and it doesn't exist, and it's just crap stuff, or it's the other portion of it where it's that evil lurking thing. But sometimes people play with that evil lurking thing, like start pulling out Ouija boards and start trying to communicate. You know what I mean? Like, here, take over my body, demon, and do whatever you want to me, those type of things. And so my goal on my channel was always to educate people about it. Like, look, don't bite off more than you can chew, because a lot of people will sit there and say, oh yeah, I can go into these places and I'll go in there with a Ouija board and I'll start doing seances and stuff, not realizing that the depth of pure evil that demons really carry, and the attachment, when they start attaching you, they don't just wreck your life, they start wrecking your home, the friends around you, anything that's pretty much associated with you. And so I really felt like it pressed on my heart. Like I was like, I have to talk to people about demons to let them know, hey, don't screw with these things are real. And so it's been like my mission on my channel. I'm like, I have to prove the existence of demons. So I have to do it. I believe in Jesus, and I believe in the protection of blood of Jesus Christ over me. I'm a Christian and I believe those things. So when I go into these things, like I take like measures. I'm like praying. I'm like, meditating on it. I'm making sure that I'm always doing what I'm supposed to, like as far as like pleading the blood of Jesus over me before the thing, pleading the blood of Jesus after, like trying to take every precaution that I believe in my religion to protect me from these demons. I've even had like demons grab my arm, like on the last Stanley one I did, I had a demon grab my arm and it burned my arm. It felt like a lighter was burning my arm. And I was like, immediately, I was like, you do not have the right to touch me by the blood of Jesus Christ, and I just started going off on it. But people like legitimately don't understand. Like, it's easy for someone to sit behind like a computer and watch it. Like I used to watch, the Ghost Adventures. I've been in paranormal since I was young. So like I've done it. I've studied like different things like demonology and those different things. So like I've educated myself along the way about what is it I'm going up against. And there's people that, will watch these TV shows such as Ghost Adventures or whatever, and they see it and they're like, oh, I could do that. This would be so cool or so creepy to go there. But they don't realize once they get into those places, it's a completely different feeling. And I'm sure you can attest to this too. I'm sure you can attest to it. The pure evil that you feel around you is just disheartening. It makes you uncomfortable. It's not like a fun thing to do. Like they see it on TV and they're like, oh, that's gotta be so fun. And you get there And you're like, no, this isn't fun at all. It messes with your emotions. It messes with, like, it drains you, like you say, and it just sucks the life out of you. And you can feel it like very, very prevalent in your life. Like, it's just like when you consume yourself with it, if you don't have that other portion that you were talking about to bring you up and be like a breath of fresh air, like, you'll just sit there and you'll get dragged and dragged and dragged down. And I really feel like that's happened to Zach Baggins. Some people will be like, maybe argue with me about it, but have you seen his demeanor change from the very first season that he's had to like where he's at now? Like, he's kind of weird. Like, he's kind of like in a weird.
I lost you for 2 seconds. I lost you for 2 seconds. Who are you talking about? I lost you. Like,
Zach Baggins. Do you know who Zach Baggins is on Ghost Adventures? He's the main guy in Ghost Adventures.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't watched it.
There's a guy like,
man, I don't consume very much.
Yeah, you're like, I got to stay out of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pick up some stuff, and I think before I started into it, before I started even into the like real, there's a genre of true crime. Like, I didn't even know it was there. Like, I mean, I watched Making a Murderer. Yeah, I watched all these shows on Netflix or whatever, but. Yeah, when I jumped into the true crime thing, it was because the true crime happened down the street. And so I understand like the Watts thing, because I went and visited the Watts house, because again, I was in the middle of, I told people when I was doing the Patrick Frazee case, I was like, man, if I would have known about true crime, I would have done this Watts case. It was 4 months ago. Like, it had just gone down 4 months prior. And so I didn't really cover the Watts case live. I went there afterwards, and I got pulled in. I'll tell you something that's crazy about the YouTube world is there's so much drama amongst people. And if you get sucked into the drama side of any channel, it could be draining as well. Like, I try to do collabs with people. I try to do, hey, let me come on. They want me to come on their channel, or want you to come on that. And that was probably worse than the actual. There was probably some worse moments that were because of YouTubers and because of like the jealousy of YouTubers than it was maybe the actual case that was sucking and draining.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was the added pressure, because I didn't care. Like, everybody was like, monetize, do this, do that. I mean, I watched that through the corporate world and was like, yeah, I'm not trying to bow to the consumer. And eventually you have to bow to the platform when you start monetizing, right? You have to start being careful about what you say, careful about what you post, careful about what you do. And I just wasn't into the carefulness. I was just like, whatever. They tried to tell me to turn my phone off in the court, and I took my phone into court, and the judge would yell at me. And so it was one of those things where, like, I didn't play by the same rules, because I looked at it like, this is I'm just holding the phone. Yeah, because I'm the guy who's in charge of the phone, and the phone has now become the TV station. There's no such thing as the FCC. There's no such thing as, it was just simply, here's what's really happening right now at the press conference. Yep. Look, there's the mayor. Look, there's the one lady. Oh my God, so-and-so just walked in. And so I was pointing at all these people in our town and involved and watching the emotions come out. It was crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun though. By all means, it's fun, man. It's fun for the consumer that's watching these things. It's fun for us, the creator. And so, but when you start talking about death and demons and ghosts and paranormal, if you believe that stuff, there is major effects and major things that you can feel in these things. Yeah. If you don't believe this stuff, just go to these places and you'll feel those things you don't believe in.
That's the truth. Yeah.
Like, that's what I tell people. Like, you don't believe in demons because you've never run into one.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Run into a demon, there is no disbelief.
It's like almost
So,
that saying, like it's all fun and games until it happens to you, right? And it really is that. And there's people that don't believe it, that don't give it a second thought or anything until it happens to them, and then it's like, oh crap, like it's like that oh crap moment where it's like, okay, I get it. And to go along with what you were saying too, Deb, with the phone, like I couldn't agree more. I always press on my channel. I'm like, I don't like drama. I don't like people going back and forth. I see so many people on true crime channels sit there and bicker back and forth and start talking crap about each other and downcasting each other and being like, oh, your channel, this and that, and you're this and that person. And then they start getting personal and then they start talking about their personal life. And then it like gets real nasty and real messy real quick. I have been fortunate to not really have to experience that on that because I built a solid foundation. Like all the people that are on the channel have been super awesome, fantastic. And I'm like, they've been this solid foundation of just like respectable people. And they know, like, when you come to my channel, I'm like, look, I'm not about drama. I'm not about this. So if you want to talk trash about somebody, if you want to be negative, if you want to sit there and spill that, I'm all for opinions. But when you start attacking people personally, that's a whole other thing. And I'm the quickest one to give them the boot. I'm like, if you're going to sit here and talk crap about somebody, like you can express your opinion, but don't start attacking somebody personally, or I'll just be like, see ya, goodbye. And I don't play
no,
that.
and that's, it just comes along with it. I mean, you find out real quickly that if people don't hate what you're doing, that's because people don't know what you're doing. Like, it's just the bottom line. And I think I stole that from somebody, but yeah, I even just put that meme on my page or something, that if you don't have people hate what you're doing, then nobody knows what you're doing,
Yeah.
because it's just part of it, right? And so, and it got personal, my man. I mean, I had threatening letter. It went from one. I mean, the difference is I spent 25 years behind the camera in countries. I've traveled and been arrested in more countries than most people have traveled. Like, I've been arrested in more countries than most people have traveled to. And so, like, I've had guns pointed at me on the side of the road in South Africa because I was holding a camera. And so when people start threatening online, like the online threats are funny, blah, blah, blah. They started calling the local police station on me. I got the policemen at my door. They've known me for 15 years. They're like, Michael, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. Somebody got pissed off online, And so it was fun. I mean, it was fun for real. Like, these officers who are working this case are officers that I've done viral videos with, like prior to the case. And so it was interesting. But on the flip side, if you start digging in and you're this close, this is where it gets real interesting, because like I had people from with inside the department leaking information, like the dispatchers, or the lady who was sleeping with one of the lady dispatchers. That's a whole nother drama. That's a whole kind of drama
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
a
get
whole nother
into.
other thing.
Anyway, when the dispatchers start leaking information, or the people you start sleeping with are leaking information, and all of a sudden the news stations start calling you, or the cops, when the cops start calling you, that's what happened in the Patrick Frazee case. Because I'm driving down the road, and all of a sudden on one of the news station Twitters, Michael Dalton has been called as a witness in the Patrick Frazee case. And
That's
my
crazy.
wife was in the courtroom at the time. I wasn't there, so my wife was kind of covering it, giving me some information, what's going on in court. And I happened to not be there that day. Oh my God, I'm telling you, bro, that's the kind of thing that you weren't and then to go one step further, I can talk about this now because this is all said and done. If you piss off police officers in a small community, or they feel like you're interfering with their investigation, you may just find yourself face to face with the murderer in the county jail. And that happened to me.
Oh
And I got the
shoot.
t-shirt to prove it. And I sold the t-shirt to pay my lawyer for what got me in there. But the t-shirt said, I survived the night in jail with Patrick Frazee, because I was face to face with Patrick Frazee during the Patrick Frazee case in the county jail. And so, I mean, you can go back and watch the YouTube stories. I've done told them, you know, and so it was fun. It was exciting. It's all the drama of Perry Mason and Matlock and the true crime, making a murderer, where now we're watching this stuff. Like all those crime TV shows, those were all true cases. They just changed names and did different stuff and dramatized it. And now they've taken us into the courtroom with Court TV, right? And we get to see the actual murderer. There's no more actors. And then they start making these, you know, documentaries about it. And now YouTubers are sitting in the courtroom with their cell phones. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And
it's true. Yeah. I've also gone to like places like NK's apartment. I've gone to like places like
validation, like when I'm an old man. Or you're cutting out. Or
yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Cutting out.
Go ahead.
Well, there's some validation. Like there's some validation when like a network picks up your channel. And so when Dateline did their first special, and they're the ones who kind of birthed the whole Dad with the Phone. The name came from another YouTuber. I won't say her name because we're not on speaking terms. But the name Dad with the Phone was kind of thrust on me from another YouTuber. And then Andrea Canning, when that happened, when you got a network when you can, and trust me, man, I said it 100 times before I could get her to say it, but finally I just got her to say it. And then I realized how easy the media was to puppet. And that was fun too, because the media was a play. The media tells the story. And in these cases that we watch now, a lot of times all we get's the Twitters. In the Gannon case, all we get in the Barry Morphew case coming up, this whole Barry Morphew case, I guarantee that they're probably not going to let cameras in the courtroom. And they're probably going to be told from Twitters. And so now it's this whole true crime through the eyes of Twitter in real time kind of stuff. So it's just crazy. Fun. Yeah. Crazy.
And fun. It's became that. It's been like, just like what I was telling you, I'd go over, people are like, hey, go to the Watts house. You know, I also went to NK's apartment, which is another person that they think that could have had potentially something to do with it. You know, I went over to her apartment and this thing. You start going into like these places and people are really interested to see it. It allows us a lot of opportunities because not everybody can be it. And if you're in Colorado, you know, like we always joke around about stuff like there's something in the water, like freaking Colorado. We have so many things happen. It's insane. Like you can go like a week or two and then you hear about another murder.
It's the water, or it's the high altitude, or it's the weed. Who knows? The
marijuana. Who knows, right? It's the truth. Yeah, so it's just like it allows you opportunity.
My phone is slowing down on me.
Oh. We'll give it a second to catch up here. But I was just saying that it's you know, it allows the opportunity to do it because we have so many. Where we live right now. He dropped out. Where we live right now, guys, it's like there's so many like places in Colorado that there's so many different cases. I mean, like we could go on and on and on about the different cases about, you know, this person or that person, this person. And here he comes back. Welcome back.
And we're back.
Yeah. Can you hear? Are you good?
Try it again.
Okay, cool.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
I can. We can hear you good now.
Yeah, you know. Hey, these television stations we got nowadays, they're a little finicky.
Oh, indeed. The media too. I mean, the media is fickle. The media will only show you what they want you to see. I mean, they have to make it interesting to the viewer. So a lot of times you'll miss portions of what really is going on because they want you only to see this portion that keeps your interest on just what's going on and the hot and happening things. So like people like yourself and myself, when we go, you know, to these places, like you'll see like actual things. You're like, oh, this is what's happening in real time. This is what's happening live, because the media won't always show that kind of stuff. So
No, that was what was real fun, is because it was cool to be there, and the perspective that you got being there live, sitting in the courtroom listening, and then to watch the highlights on the media, right? And the story they told. Because then you can always come back and be like, oh, that's not what happened. That's not exactly what you're telling the makeup story of this.
yeah.
Or it's fun to just be there and to see that everyone is sitting in the same room, and we're all watching the same thing go down. But then if you go back and read the Twitters of the reporters that are in the room, you're like, even though we're all in the same room, we're seeing the same thing, we all have different perspectives, whether it be, oh, Patrick is wearing pink handcuffs, or oh, the attorney's got earrings on that are flashy, or whatever the perspective was. As being someone who sat in the courtroom, it was kind of interesting. I was always like, oh, how many people are here? I'm making a head count, because people want to know. And the one thing I can say for this internet, for this medium of YouTube true crime, was you can't stop it. Like,
Yeah.
no, the evidence is slower than the internet. And what I mean by that is, during the Patrick Frazee case, I receive a text. Michael, FBI has just issued a warrant to search this property. Can you get out there? And I'm like, well, yeah, but how are we going to get permission to get out there? Because it was this big property. And they're like, oh, no, we got permission and we got you the gate code.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, because of someone who owned a piece of property that got subpoenaed from the FBI so that they could come out and search this property for Kelsey Barrett, we were out there searching the day that the subpoena rised up, before the warrant was even issued. And people were freaking out. They're like, you're going to screw something up? You're going to... I get out there and there's 3 feet of snow on the ground. Like, if this dude buried someone here, or if I screw this up, it's because nobody has answers. But what was funny, so we're out there searching, and you realize the cops, the internet is way quicker than the cops. And then later, like months later, oh, this is why they wanted to search. He took the body out here and stored it out here. So, like, we didn't have all the pictures or all the pieces or all of the little things. But, man, little tidbits. The internet, again, Sonic manager. The girl who helped Patrick was here right afterwards. The cops have been here. Here's the video. What the? She sent the video to me.
That's crazy.
She didn't send it to the cops. She was taking pictures of the cops while they were there, taking video of Crystal Lee, who we didn't even know. So here I am on the internet, before court, before cases, before they release anything. I'm like, there's some girl that helped this dude out. There's some girl that came down, and people freak. You're gonna mess the whole case up, man, dude. All I'm doing is, I live in this town, and the Sonic person called me, or and so that's where, like, if you start screwing with a case too much, you find yourself up. Just to bring it full circle, as I walked into the Teller County Jail, and there's Patrick Frazee. I spent the night in jail with Patrick Frazee because I started fiddling, maybe where I shouldn't have fiddled.
Yeah.
Maybe, everybody, you can fiddle in a case afterwards and nobody cares. You can cover a case afterwards. Nobody cares. You're not messing anything up. We all know the end. It's already out. But if you are in the middle of it, you'll find yourself in the middle of the case, and that is not a good thing.
You know what? Speaking of that too, Dad, with the phone, I was actually reached out to a person who was I think on a police task force, and they actually told me because I was going to go do the paranormal investigation of Suzanne Morphew when all we knew is that she was missing. We had our suspicions that something had happened to her, but I was going to go do it. They had actually reached out to me and they said, hey, look, if you're going to go do this, I'm warning you, there's people out there that there's things that are going on in this case that you don't know about. Let us send a few people with you and have you go there because you need protection. And I didn't understand at the time. I was like, why would I need protection from this? I'm just trying to do the paranormal side of it. I'm not even trying to get in the down in the dirty side of it, like trying to, do the search and try to get those things. Like, I'm just trying to see if we capture anything paranormal where a demon will give us an answer as to what happened exactly. She was murdered or whatever the case, whatever it comes across on the spirit box. So when they reached out to me in that, and then now this has actually happened on the case, like it makes sense now. I'm like, okay, now it makes sense why that person messaged me and said, hey, don't go out there alone because there's some stuff going on with this case that you don't know about. And so like what you're saying
to the Suzanne Morphew case,
yeah,
this is a whole nother ball game because it took them 1 month to arrest Patrick Frazee.
Yeah.
It took them 1 year to arrest Barry Morphew.
Yeah.
And I camped so I went out to the search when Andy, Suzanne Morphew's brother, had organized the search, and through some other YouTube guys organized the search, and some other people, they organized the search. So I go out. I'm going to go out there. Yeah, this was dinner afterwards. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were having dinner afterwards, and so that was after. Yeah, this is during one of the searches. You can see all of these videos and live stuff. That's my beautiful wife right there, Nikki. She puts up with me. But
search dog.
Some of the search dogs that were out there. So here's something that was interesting. That was a group of us at dinner at the search for Suzanne Morphew after one of the nights. We searched places that were pointed out by like psychics and ghost people. Like we had so for sure in the Morphew case, Andy and the family, they were down for anything because their sister was missing, right? And this is how you kind of know, like legit pain and legit, like just torment is because of that family, even though he's smiling in the picture, there was just a torment of, we're just trying to get answers. We're just trying to find something. We don't care if it comes from a ghost hunter, from a dad with a phone, from a cop, from a news station, multiple news. I am very close with a lot of news personalities. Let me say this carefully because I don't want people to read this wrong. I do not respect the traditional media, but I very much respect the people on the ground doing the actual stories, and the people like Lauren Scharf, or in the Patrick Frazee case, golly, this is my age right now. Freaking somebody in chat from Channel 5. I can't believe I can't even. This is somebody I've been to breakfast with, and my freaking this reporter. God, I feel terrible right now. This is how you know it's not scripted. It's gonna come to me. Somebody's gonna put it in chat right now. They know exactly who I'm talking about. Anyway, these reporters on the ground are real people just like you and I, and they have a real interest in figuring out this case or these cases. And so, although I don't respect the media and I don't respect the stories they tell in this, I respect those individuals enough to forget their name, which is terrible. Oh God!
One of those moments.
Anyway, so some of these, but in the Suzanne Morphew case, Lauren Scharf has been threatened. I'm speaking of Lauren, and then in the Patrick Frazee case, oh my God, I can't believe I can. You're on my. I'd be looking on my phone right now, but I'm talking to you on my phone. Golly. He's done a podcast with me. We've for 2 years, but he moved. He's gone now. He's in a different city doing a different thing. Gosh, I can't believe I forgot his name.
Somebody said Nate.
Going back to the case. Not Nate. Nate is not here. Y'all are just naming off all the big reporters. Nate is in the. He's head on the Chad Daybell case. God, now somebody's gonna have to guess this reporter's name. Anyway, I just can't believe that's gone. Suzanne Morphew, Barry Morphew, where this case is going and what happened, man. There's no telling. There's no telling the ghost or the stories that are going to be told. The police have had Sam freaking Kramer. Thank you. Why don't I remember his name? Sam. God, I feel so bad right now. I'm terrible. Who is that? Greg? Thank you, Greg. Sam Kramer, best reporter that covered the Patrick Frazee case. Go see his Twitters about it or something. Those are real people with real lives doing real investigation. And sometimes these people are going to find stuff out. Lauren Scharf has found stuff out in the Barry Morphew case that Barry Morphew did not want people to find out. And, Tyson Draper, I got to give Tyson a shout out. I don't shout out a lot of YouTubers, but me and Tyson have met face to face. We've talked face to face, boots on the ground, did an interview with Barry Morphew without Barry Morphew knowing what was really happening. Like, he knew there was a camera there, but he was giving an interview to a guy that he didn't figure out. And Tyson Draper called it crazy out right there. And so I'll tell you what, YouTubers are gonna solve cases faster than cops do in the very near future. They have already broke open cold cases. This has already been documented. There's documentaries out there where YouTubers have broke cold cases. But what's going to happen now is they're going to actually solve cases in real time faster than police officers can, because of there's just 6 billion people and the 7 billion people in the world. Yeah. And if you got 1% of those people out there doing work on one case, you're going to solve a lot of cases a lot quicker. And that was the one thing that I realized in both of these cases, that people can look down upon guys like me, or guys like the Tyson Draper, who went out there, got this interview with Barry Morphew. But you got to understand that if those things don't happen, the cops don't have a better story. Like, everything that came out that's coming out in the Suzanne Morphew case, we don't even know yet. But everything that's coming out in it, I guarantee you, all the little steps, all the little things that have happened this entire year, from little interviews here to pictures that were taken to conversations on social media, these things are all going to play. They're all going to play when it comes to that courtroom. And so, it's the cases that aren't solved are funner for me than the ones like where we got the Watts stuff and it just all came out and they got the video and everybody got to then. Those are cool and glad that they got Watts and he made a deal. But when people don't know what's happening, like, it was this close for Patrick Frazee to get off. Like, if he doesn't use a girl to clean up, he gets off. If he cleans up himself and doesn't use someone else to then come in and tell the story, and Barry Morphew, this is yet to be known. Is there other accomplices? I haven't been digging into the case maybe as much as other people have or what, but there may be accomplices, and there may be I think the nephew's been pointed at, and there's other people that have been pointed at. But if he doesn't use someone else, it's hard to convict someone without a body or without a story of a body and how he got rid of, disposed of, killed, whatever. So this one will be different. You should probably get out here and hunt some ghosts.
Oh, absolutely. I'm actually talking about going out there next week to do it. I got to with my wife, but that's the plan. I'm planning on trying to go out there next week and actually be around the area and start to do my paranormal investigation now, because I mean, obviously we have him in custody now, and we know the murder and things like that. So now it's like, okay, now let's see, like this is like almost like perfect timing to see. Now I'm not in the midst of interfering with the case per se, but I'm like just at the right portion or time of it to try to see, well, can I get some paranormal answers as to what's going on? Maybe we'll get some answers before prior even to the case being, going on, and then we hear it. So, which will be interesting, because sometimes you do catch things on the paranormal side. For instance, I had, we were over at the Watts case, and I was at the house, and I had the Ghost Reader app come up, and it said Brady. And all of us were sitting there spinning our head. We're like, Brady, there's nobody involved in this case named Brady. The very next day, Chris Watts had filed a 35C, which was underneath the Brady clause.
Okay.
So we didn't know what the heck it was talking about, but it just so happened the very next day that Brady clause came up, the 35C, and we're like, no way. Like, so that's what's so interesting or fascinating about paranormal, is because when demons are involved and they know things that we don't know, and then you can sometimes get answers that are not seen to what we just see, here with the naked eye, or hear, or those things. And that's what makes it so interesting. It's like, God, like, how can it be like so spot on some of these things? Now, is it going to always be that accurate? Probably not. Are we going to receive lies sometimes? Probably. But to go along too with what you were saying about people being able to solve the case from YouTube's perspective prior to, that's why I always advocate for people. I'm like, guys, let's stop fighting amongst ourselves in the true crime community, and let's all band together. If we can get all of our people together and we can unite, can you imagine what we could accomplish in a true crime community? Because we have so many people that are band together, and we have all these eyes looking at this case and scrutinizing it and going through every detail. Like you're saying, we'll be able to solve the case sometimes quicker than the police would, because we just have a mass volume of people that are sitting here scrutinizing, reading over the documents, reading over the facts, like going over every detail, and like just with a fine-tooth comb. And if we have everybody doing the same thing on the same page, instead of arguing amongst each other, saying, no, that's not it, no, this isn't, okay, let's figure out, let's all combine together. Let's all get what our train of thoughts are, and let's all combine, and let's figure out what we can do to help some of these things, rather than sitting and combating each other in those things. So
yeah, it's been weird because CrimeCon does that. Like, CrimeCon has a seminar where they'll take a cold case. I think they've done it. I think the first year they were going to do it was 2020, and they didn't do it. And then in 2021, I think maybe, or the late 2020, or it was late 2019, they did. Like, so one of the CrimeCon convention, people show up. All these true crimers come to this one room. They got their laptops. Everybody's out. And then they drop all the case files to everybody. And for like 2.5 hours, this entire room is going, or whatever the time period. I don't know what the time period is, but they're trying to solve this cold case. Mm-hmm. And it's a small scale, right? It's in a ballroom at a hotel. If you were able to do that, which I think maybe now with COVID, you actually probably could facilitate like a 1,000-member Zoom or a 10,000-member Zoom, where you could facilitate, because that's really the only way it happens. Because like, somebody's going to watch this tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. And they can't chime into the live right now. Or somebody's going to watch this 10 years from now, and they can't chime into the live right now. But one of those live things where everybody's sitting there, everybody's focusing, everybody's channeling their energies. There's 2 or 3 times where this actually happened to me and I wouldn't say paranormal. I would say probably spiritual. I would use the word spiritual because I'm not trying to conjure up demons. I was trying to conjure up some angels. I was trying to conjure up the other side of the thing, mm-hmm. where we would take a moment, like I would be in the middle of a lie. This happened during court, and people that have watched Dad with the phone can attest to this. During the actual Patrick Frazee trial, there were a few times I couldn't be at the courthouse or I couldn't be there. Whether it be because I was a witness, I wasn't allowed in the room, or whether I had other obligations. But I was gone. And I was doing a live video and I was giving updates because I always had people that were in the courtroom. So I could always get the updates and had eyes in the courtroom if I wasn't there. But at one point in one of my lives, I was like, we need to just stop for a second and pray for Kelsey's mom. I don't know why this is going to be hard for her watching these trials. And so I stopped, prayed, did a little quick prayer. Nothing super crazy. 20 minutes later, Cheryl Barrett's taking the stand. Cheryl Barrett's taking the stand. Cheryl Barrett's, we didn't even know she was here. Twitter share, and it's blowing up that Cheryl Barrett's taking the stand. And it's those moments. It's at that time, no criticism, no tweet, no anything, no handcuffs, nothing would ever want to stop me from doing what just happened. Right? It was at that very moment that it was like, okay, this is cool for a YouTube, and oh, isn't that cool? He prayed for Cheryl Barrett a few minutes before she took the stand. No, that's supernatural. That's stuff you can't take credit for. That's not something that I can say, oh, I'm Mr. The right person, or I have this intuition. They had nothing. It's simply, that's a supernatural something that happened. And this is where like YouTube and they haven't gotten there yet, and maybe they have in the supernatural, I don't know. But because we have the access and all these people, I don't even know how many people, there could be 3 people watching live right now. I don't know how many people are watching live, but because all I can see is my own screen. I don't see the YouTube or what's on his channel or any of that. But whoever is behind that, right? So whoever is watching this live, if I can get them to agree with me, then we are moving things beyond barriers that you and I never had access to. Yeah. So if I speak to you and say, hey, buddy, we're on the same screen together, but the people that are off the screen, if I can conjure up that energy enough for them to say, I agree with him right now, then I believe, and I think you believe, that we can move something in the supernatural. Correct?
I agree. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
Where 2 or more people are gathered, where 1 or more, where 5 people, right? Where 100 people on a live video, we can move something in the spiritual or in the supernatural or in the phenomenon or the paranormal or whatever you want to call everything you can't see but you believe is happening around us. Like, I believe shit's happening around me right now, whether you see it or not. I can pull energy out right now, and I can prove it to you. I'll show you if you'll stick with me for 2 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it. Yeah, he's absolutely right, guys. What he's talking about too is like when 2 or more gather in the name and like start praying about things, like it can make a difference.
Everybody watching right now, as I pull the energy of a puppy out, everybody watching goes, oh, oh. So simultaneously, as this hits the screen and people see the puppy, everybody, oh, right? We just move something through a TV screen or a cell phone, paranormal, with a living creature. Why? Because there's something going on, right? And so the question of whether or not paranormal can move something is ludicrous, because we can prove it. Like I just proved to you, everybody on the other side of the screen knows this. They felt something when a puppy came on the screen, right?
Good point.
This is a beautiful puppy right here.
Anyway, that is beautiful.
If it's not, it's just good content, right?
Yeah, he's absolutely right there. True.
Anyway, I'm just ranting now, buddy.
No, but you're true. Like, you're so onto something. That was fun. Like, what you're saying, it couldn't be any more spot on or accurate. You're saying, like, what you're saying is like so spot on. And I can attest to it too, because there's people where I've been on my investigations where I've felt overcome with emotions, almost like something was trying to attach to me or get to me. And I would have actively people praying for me. And
Absolutely.
and when you feel that, like, you can feel like when, you know, somebody's prayers or somebody's sending love or someone's sending, you know, just whatever, like, if you have multiple people doing that, and I'm a firm believer in this, the same way as I am for praying. I ask for people for prayer, you know, in everyday life things. Can you guys pray for me? You know, we're going through some hard times and trying to, you know, get through this, like, demon things. I feel like they're attacking me and stuff like that. And I really do feel, um, people may think I'm crazy, but I do think, because what I do in the paranormal world, and I'm trying to expose demons, and I'm trying to shed a light on God, and I'm trying to do all those things, I honestly, truly believe that recently I have been attacked demonically. Like, I'm talking in my everyday life and my everyday things. I've had situations that not everybody knows about, you know, behind the scenes, because this is the personal life aspect of it. And I've had things that have happened that have just been like unreal. Like, I'm like, are you kidding me? Unreal. This can't be explained any other way than feeling like it's like a demonic attack. It's not just like everyday ordinary life things, because I know life things happen. I can understand that. But when you have certain attacks and you have certain things that are hitting you at home, and they're to your heart's, like, what matters to you most, that's when you know that something supernatural, spiritual, demonic, whatever you want to call it, that's when you know that something behind the scenes is like going on. And I feel, because of the things that I've been doing, um, I've been under attack from certain things. And it's tough, because it's like, I want to try to expose it, but on the flip side of it, it's like when you have to deal with these everyday battles, and I'm sure you can attest to, because you had to go through your own personal battles. I'm sure of people saying different things. Hey, you're messing with investigations. Hey, you're doing this. And I'm sure you got a lot of negative comments and hate and different things, and people thought of you differently, and just, you know, this and that and that. And like, I'm sure at some point it wears and tears on you, like, no matter how thick of a skin we have, because I'm a thick skinned person. I can brush a lot of things off. I'm like, whatever, you know, okay, you can hate, you can say whatever you want, but you know, I'm doing whatever I feel is right. So whatever you tell me is regardless. But I'm sure you can say to your, what you've had going on, you probably have been to that point where you felt like you were attacked. And
Well,
did it take
yeah,
did it take a toll?
yeah. And so for the people who have watched my channel or are over here because I whatever said, hey, I want to be on this show, they already know, right? I can sit here and walk through this, but on the flip side, if you know what you're doing is right,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else you believe that you've said, hey, I'm a Christian, I believe in these things, right? If you believe all of these things, then you also believe that, hey, 10,000 will fall to my left and 10,000 to my right. And
Amen.
that's what's happened for me, man. So here's the truth. I have a hit list. Just like everyone else has a prayer list, and they're like, hey, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this. I have a hit list, and my hit list is filled with people, real people. And so, like, when I say, man, Father, this dude here has taken things from me. He has done this. He has attacked my family. Please, either take me out or take him out. That guy no longer works for the police station. Hey, this guy has attacked me. He has filed false reports against me. He has come against me and my family. That guy's dead. The police chief, who I have said for years in Woodland Park, I swear to you, you can go back and see this. He is corrupt. He is ruining this town. That guy's been put on administrative leave and will not be back.
Yeah.
The one police officer that I had built a relationship with, that I had stood across, and he understood what was happening and understood why I was doing the things I was doing. That dude's the police chief now. I could go down the list of my hit list of the people who have been taken out and the people who have replaced those people, because I can tell you that if you are doing what you believe
Mm-hmm.
your higher power, whoever you subscribe to morally, whatever religion you are, if you believe you're doing the right thing, then good shit comes your way.
It's
And I'm
true.
gonna tell you right now, I absolutely love my life. I play with puppies all day. People pay me to play with their puppies. People bring their puppies to me. Like when I die, I'm gonna say, man, I spent the last years of my life playing with puppies, and I would have never gotten there. I would never be where I'm sitting today in a state certified kennel making God knows ungodly amounts of money for dogs. I wouldn't be here had it not been out of obedience in everything, in every little path, in every little the corner nook. And did I make some wrong decisions along the way? Hell yeah. Did I say some
We're
things
human. We're
online
going
that I
to.
probably would take back? Hell yeah, I would take these things back. But as far as the game of life goes, man, I'm I'm only halfway through it. I've never done it before. This is the first time I've ever played life. And demons, paranormal, gods, all of these things are very much real and very much a part of your everyday life,
Yeah.
whether you believe it or not. So, like for the unbeliever, whether you don't believe in the paranormal, you don't believe in the devils, the demons, the angels, the gods, you don't believe in those things, cool. Then they have already won because they're playing a game for keeps forever, for like long after you're gone. And if
Mhm.
you just go through life like, hey, they don't exist, then one side of that team has already won. And that's why you haven't been tormented by demons. When you're like this guy that likes to screw around with the places in which some of us don't have the balls to do it, right? You want to play in those arenas, then you better know you're playing on the right side, because
Yeah.
torment's going to come your way, attack's going to come your way, evil's going to come your way, especially if you're doing good shit. That's how I knew I was on to something. Man, when I was doing these cases, or when I'm looking into stuff, the way I know that I'm headed into the way of truth. Like I know I'm pointing at the truth. I might not have gotten there yet, but I'm pointing at it and I'm headed that way, is because all those attacks and all that evil and all those people say that. I used to have a saying when people started saying my name, bad, good, or indifferent, say my name, bitches, say my name. I don't care if you say something bad about me. I don't care if you say something good about me, but this was what was fun in the YouTube drama world. Because
Yeah.
the drama world, they like to just, he's terrible. He done this, he done that, he's done this. And I'm saying my name, man. My subscription was going up, my followers were going up. And people who hated me, people would come over to the channel because their favorite YouTuber said, go over there and, troll or do this. And man, they would leave my biggest fans. I swear. They
Mhm.
would leave and they would write me a message. I didn't even like you, but now I watch you all the time. Or I came over there because someone said this about you, and then I watched a little bit, and boom. And so authenticity is far greater than any sort of drama, any sort of dramatics that you try to add to your message. In the paranormal, people try to add the drama, they try to add the dramatics. Man, just go to somewhere where people have died and the drama will show up.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
there is that spirit. There is something that left. There is leftovers there. And so anyway, I'm just rambling now, bro.
That's one of the reasons, honestly, Dad with the phone. That's one of the reasons that I've made it a point to do my paranormal investigations live, because I'm not one of those people that like, look, I'm not gonna blow smoke up your skirt and be like, look, oh, I found this or I found that, or well, this is what it is, or this is what. Look, like I want you to see everything that I'm seeing, everything that I'm hearing. I want you to see and hear it at the same time, so there's no question. Is this fake? Is this bogus? Is this, everything I see and hear is the same stuff that you guys are hearing too. And so in what you were talking about, pretty much you were saying new level, new devil. And that couldn't be any more accurate or true, because when you're on the right path, when you're doing the right things, and hey, look, are we imperfect as people? Of course we are. We're not always going to make the right decisions. Dad with the phone's not going to. I'm not going to. Anybody in the chat's not going to. We're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to make errors. But when we're on a right path to try to do what we can to try to help, to try to get to a place where we're helping somebody or doing something that's beneficial, and not just out of a selfishness or whatever that is, like, you start to get to new levels. So when you start having those attacks, which, by the way, Dad with the phone, when I told you I was having those attacks, they just happened recently. But I will say praise God, because I got through it unscathed. Like, even though those things were coming against me, I got through it unscathed. And I always talk about it being, it talks about in the Bible, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why does it talk about it being a valley? It talks about it being a valley because you're going through a valley. You're not stuck in the valley. You're not there for the rest of your life. You will eventually come out to the other side. And if you remain true to what you are doing, if you remain true to the things that are good, you are going to come out the other side, and you're going to come out smelling like roses, because it's like you're going through these. And I believe in that sometimes things come into your life and into play because you're being pruned. Like, there might be areas and aspects in your life that you yourself don't even know. You're like, hey, I don't even know that I need to be pruned. So I took this as an opportunity when this was going on, as I'm like, hey, now I can open my eyes and see maybe God is using this as a tool to prune me, to get me in a better position, and be like, look, you may think that you were doing everything 100% right in here, but take what it is with a grain of salt and prune off those little edges they're causing your fruit not to grow, and then just stay tried and true. And when you do, you end up bearing more fruit, and you end up bearing more fruit because you're doing what you're supposed to. You're staying true to what you're supposed to. And God's going to show you these little different tiny things that you were blindsided by. You're like, dang, I didn't even think about these like areas or these avenues
I
that
thought this was paranormal, not like Friday night church, bro. Saturday night church. What's
no,
really going
no, it
on
is,
here,
but it all
man?
intertwines. It all honestly
No,
intertwines.
hey,
But
yeah, I understand. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
But yeah, like when you were saying that, it kind of lit a fire in me, man. Because you were bringing some things, like, you may not think you're being as spiritual, maybe as you are, but some of the things that you were saying is what,
Listen, I
regardless of what,
understand.
if
I'm
you believe
speaking
in God or
straight to
not.
you because I am very spiritual. I'm very spiritual. I'm not super religious, and I'm we like I've wrestled demons, not like metaphorically, not like this figuratively. Like I've gone to the woods and
Yeah.
conjured up the demons to wrestle, right? So like the stories you hear, I don't care what people think about me because they haven't wrestled the demons, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so like one that I can remember very specifically, not the first time, but I've wrestled demons my entire life. Um, Physically, like when I'm telling you, I can smell them, taste them, touch them, see them, wrestled them. And so one particular time, my wife had a miscarriage, and I was pissed. I was torn apart. I was ready to wrestle God. I went to wrestle with God the Father and say, "How could you? Why would you do this?" And
That's a
and
tough
and
one.
so instead, I got to wrestle with demons and understand things. And so, like, man, I've seen shit. Like I've been in the tribes in Africa and seen people levitate in front of you and seen and smelled the sulfur of demons. And so when people like I can sit here and talk to you and say, I have seen those things. I might, this is part of where I grew up. Like if I start going back through my history and my parents' history and the things in which my parents' history, like my grandmother just died. And there were people that traveled from Africa to her funeral because she spent time in Africa as missionaries. And so when the question of good and evil is nothing. Here's the question you have to ask yourself when it comes to me personally. It's because I will tell you, I probably am the most evil person on the earth. Like when I think about the things that I have thought in my head and the things that I have thought towards people who have done things to me, the only thing that keeps me in check is that I don't want to answer to the Father, right? I don't want to answer to the man upstairs, your Jesus, your God, your Father, your Allah, your Muhammad, your Buddha. I don't care what you call him. I believe in that guy. The guy who created it all, the guy who speaks to you at night, the guy where even if you don't believe, then I tell you, try not to sleep because you can't go without sleep. And the reason you sleep is because the creator of life has to breathe into you. So even if you're the atheist who's watching this, that say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in God, then stay awake because you can't. You'll go crazy. You'll go insane. You'll see those demons. The Father breathes into you every night as you sleep, whether you believe it or not. I breathe the Father in every breath is the only difference, right? While I'm awake, while I'm conscious, this is what makes you different, is because you consciously are attached to the Father. You're consciously making an effort to say, I'm doing this to fight evil, but I know I'm connected to him. And that's the difference. I don't have to, if I want to start a supernatural or a preaching or a spiritual channel, it's there for me because I've touched it. I can do it. Been there. But life is too fragile. Life is too short. And by God, my time is too valuable to hunt demons. I'm glad you do it.
Somebody's got to do it, right?
Somebody's got to do it. You know? And so, so like spiritual, I'm not, even though I'm facetious and I'm sarcastic and those understand that everything that's coming out of my mouth is for the people that are watching right now. It's not by mistake. It's not by accident. It's not by pretend, right? And so, no, it's what I believe. This is just part of me. I don't have to, man, I'm always talking to somebody, whether it's the demons or the angels. So, hey, I got a dinner date though. Speaking of time, so
and I gotta go with my family, man. Before my family starts chasing after me, it's been a pleasure. Seriously, Dad, with the phone. Like Stacy's been trying to connect us for a little bit of time here, and with my schedule's always hectic, and I'm sure yours is just as hectic.
It's good, man.
Too. So you're good people. If anybody here is not subscribed to Dad with the Phone, please go do it right now. This man, you could tell.
Or if you just want to watch puppies, go subscribe to Dog Training with Dad. It's not that far from Dad with a Phone. You can go to Dog Training with Dad because I don't do too much more on Dad with a Phone. But I'm still a dad. I'm just dog training now.
Hey, you're just on a different thing now. Like it's not.
I'm on a path. But hey,
different path.
Been awesome. Hey, I'm gonna let you close your show out because it's yours.
Okay.
So I'm out of here. Thank you guys. Y'all are awesome. We'll see you guys later.
All right, pleasure. Thanks, man. Well, that was awesome. Like I was not expecting some of the things that he was talking about. He came from a different level, like regardless of whether you want to say spiritually, religiously, he was talking more on spiritual things and stuff like that. He seems like he's very connected spiritually. So it was good. It was a good conversation. I love to have those kind of conversations because people in that they've like we said, he's been somebody with the boots on the ground. He's been the person that's been like right there in the midst of between these people. You know, you guys saw some of the pictures. You guys got to hear some of the stories of what had happened. I mean, he could go on for days, I'm sure, with stories, and we could probably kick stories back and forth for days, I'm sure. But it was a pleasure to have him on. So Dad with Phone, thank you very much. Go subscribe to his other channel, I guess he has, that's about the puppies. And you guys will probably feel a whole lot better because sometimes this true crime stuff, I know it gets a little bit overwhelming at times. So I want to send a shout out to Stacy too. Thank you, Stacy, for bringing us together and getting Dad with the Phone on here too. So I appreciate that. Guys, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining the channel. I know we went a little more church than what you guys are probably used to, but this was on a whole nother thing because he's been somebody who's been there and he's done it, and on his side and his portion of true crime, and I've been there and I've done it on the paranormal side of things where I've been facing those things too. So it's kind of funny to hear like his accounts from the things that he goes through on the true crime portion of it. And I know he said he's not doing as much anymore. I'm sure eventually it takes a toll on you. It's taken a toll on me on the paranormal side of the things too. I still feel like I'm on a mission, so I'm still going to push forward and continue to do the paranormal investigations, the true crime paranormal investigations. I'm going to see if I can get out next week for the Suzanne Morphew. I feel like it would be beneficial to go out there and see if there's anything paranormal we could capture, especially since this is in the midst of, just him getting arrested recently, and it's kind of maybe we'll get answers that maybe we just haven't heard yet. So, as always, guys, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you, and go spend time with your family, go spend time with your loved ones, and I guess we will see you guys soon. All right, take care. Thank you so much for joining. See ya.